By the 19th century, the ground beneath Malabar was shifting, which would rewire how people imagined family, sexuality, and power. The British imperialists interfered and redefined the Tarawad as a single undivided corporate unit and placed all the authority in the hands of the man, the Karnavan or the mother's brother. This led to disputes between the older and the newer generations. And the world outside the Tarawad was also changing. A big change was the abolition of slavery in Malabar in 1843. Now, many people don't know that Kerala has had an entrenched system of slavery going back all the way to the 8th century. And the enslaved were from Dalit communities who worked and lived in the most horrifying conditions. We need to see that the agrarian system in Malabar went something like this. At the top were the landowning Janmis, who were either Nambudiri or some Nair elites. The Janmis never cultivated the land, they leased it out to tenants who were called the Kanakars, which were often drawn from Nair subcastes. The Kanakars subleased the land to lower caste cultivators called Verumpatakars. But even the Verumpatakars did not actually till the land. They brought in slave labor from Dalit Pulaya and Chiruma communities that did most of the work to keep this economy running. The abolition of slavery did not change the material conditions of Dalits as they were roped in to work on the British-owned plantations. But as they transitioned from being aggressive feudal serfs working on the Tarawad to wage laborers working on the colonialist capitalist plantations, the Tarawads lost their supply of cheap and coerced labor, weakening their economic base. Third, the colonial courts viewed marriage only from a Brahmanical lens, recognizing legal unions only if they followed Vedic sacraments, what in Malayalam we called Vivaham or Kalyanam. Because Sambandham lacked these Vedic rites, the colonial courts often dismissed them as mere concubinage. Now, this classification carried massive material implications because under the Hindu Wills Act of 1870, individual property rights were strictly reserved for communities with legally recognized marriages. So, a rising class of young Nair men working in the colonial bureaucracy, drawing incomes, found themselves unable to control their own wealth, driving them to launch a direct attack on the matrilineal system itself. Add to this, there was resentment towards the Nambudiri Brahmins. A Nambudiri woman could never be with a Nair man because remember the concept of hypergamy or the Anulom system? The Nairs resented the sexual asymmetry and began to find the polyandrous flexibility of their women immoral and promiscuous. Now, as they were powerful in the colonial bureaucracy, the Nair reformers pressurized the government to set up the Malabar Marriage Commission in 1891 to look into legalizing sambandhams. But the people whose lives were most affected by this, women, were largely excluded from these debates. And for that, check out part 4 of this series.